Hi, hello. It is Friday, December 12th. Dogs fighting in the background, as per usual. I'm off work today. I had a pretty solid meditation earlier. I wanted to share a few things. And I may have to refer to my notes, so bear with me. The first thing that I had kind of been getting, like intuitive inklings, I guess I'd say, that I needed to kind of like check in on the midterms next year, November. And simply asking, what does that look like? What do we need to know? Like, not really any specific, detailed questions or anything, just open receipt. And Dante's mad at me because I've locked the door. And the first thing that came up was I'm going to try to go in order and try to make sense of how it came in. The first thing that came up was the term put a freeze on it. Put a freeze on it. And I will say, I from there tried to ask, what does that mean? What is the freeze? Where's the freeze applied? I at this point did not get a really clear sense of, does that mean put a freeze on the date and delay? Put a freeze on until? There's something else that came in after that I'm going to mention here in a minute that made me wonder, is there a freeze on certain seats? And I'll explain why in a moment. Anyway, what it was just put a freeze on it. And I didn't really get clarity around what the freeze is. It's a sense of something different from what they usually look like. So not just rolling right along and, as per usual kind of circumstance. So then as I sat with that and was asking some of those questions, I started to then get, which is where I'm going back to, the words a rolling calendar of special elections. Now, I do want to be 100% straightforward that I have heard one other psychic say something related to special elections, which I don't know if I interpreted this or if this is what they said. I don't remember the details of it. But my interpretation, at the very least, of when they said that was because now we're seeing a whole lot of, red hat side talking about retiring and or just straight up hitting the road, like in January and so forth, following MTG's footsteps. And so that was my interpretation of when I heard that person say it. However, when I was in meditation today, then I received those words, a rolling calendar of special elections, which are strange words. They're not words that I actually would really use. And so to me, trying not to like dig too deeply in interpretation, we just have to see how this comes up. I'm just trying to tell you how things came in for me. To me, that felt like the possibility of, is it that they get scheduled out over a period of time? Is it that more, start to say they're leaving? Is it that, something else that causes kind of like just this, rolling calendar that I did not get clarity around either. And, some of that's probably purposeful. But that's what made me wonder, like, is there a freeze on, certain seats because these are the ones that just came in from special election, or are we freezing the whole thing and it's not looking like normal? Then in addition to that as well, my girl, Jasmine, who, as I had mentioned not too long ago, always, we don't idolize politicians in this household. However, when you see somebody who's really appearing to step forward with the kinds of ideologies and things that you are also behind, then we applaud that and hope that they continue to not disappoint us. However, we're always open to the possibility that they will disappoint us at some point. I do not have disappointment in her at this point. I just want to mention that, and don't fall for propaganda. Please do your research when you're seeing ridiculous stuff on social media. That all being said, I did say, is there anything related to that Texas seat? And the only thing I got was something to the effect of, there are bigger things ahead for her. I do not have a clear idea. Does that mean that, no, I had to go and look up when the primaries are. They're apparently in March, early March. I don't remember the date, 3rd or something. I don't know. I had to go look that up because after all of this, because I was like, I don't even know when that's supposed to happen. I don't know. Does that mean that she's not the candidate? Does that mean that she is the candidate, but something changes between then and November? Does that mean that she even if all of that goes normal to plan and she's the one elected, something else? And it feels like within the next year or two, something else that is a bigger place for her to be. And I was very, very crystal clear about this is not because it's something that I want, because again, we just need people who are representing us and working for us. Period. Full stop. So it felt like, and maybe that's big in her world, maybe that's big on the world stage and in the national stage, I don't know, but something bigger is waiting for her at some point. Let me check my notes. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna have to see if I'm gonna have to see if I can get through this fast because I have several other things that happen. In addition to all of that, I also, not asking specifically the question, but I also received something that feels like those contests in the not too distant future will, just generally speaking, look different. Next handful of years, I want to say. And if I get more clarity around timeline on that, I'll let you know. But will look different in terms of contest day, first Tuesday in November, won't be exactly the same. It almost came more like looking as though that might be like final results announcement day, but that there would be a period of days before that. And a sense that there could be like a very physical, manual, old school from years ago, from when I was a kid, hand count process, at least temporarily. And that even if we do in fact get past that back to something that's electronic, that there would be hand manual validation after that. So a period of days of like actually being able to go and do it rather than just one day that nobody gets off work and, all of the disenfranchisement and yada, yada, yada. Then a period of time after that it's required for everything to be finalized, and then an announcement, final results day. I do not have clarity about how far off all of that feels, but at least the beginning cycle of watching some of those changes or something in respect to that within the next year or two, how long it takes for us to get to something like that. Oh, the actual words were meant for something bigger in reference to my girl. Okay, the last two things that came in, and I asked these specifically because dogs fighting, because I saw somebody who I've not seen before talk about power grids. I know that there's more than one. I personally have never had a sense of something on a mass scale going down. That doesn't mean that nothing would, but I personally have never gotten anything in relation to that. When I asked about it today, I actually instead got thrust into what appeared like the actual image was almost like a high-rise apartment complex, like apartment building, with people with their windows open and fanning themselves and sweating. It felt like an unseasonable heat wave or something that stresses an area. I feel like I got pulled up to the northeast. So I don't feel like that's immediate. I feel like that's 2026, but maybe in a time frame and in an area that the time frame doesn't make sense for that kind of heat to happen and to stress the area. Last thing real quick, food industry. I got something that it actually showed up like plants, like breaking down. Machinery's not working, plants going like something too much and not working well enough that would then have an impact on the collective. My time is up. That's what I have for you for today. Let me know how you're doing.